Good morning, good afternoon. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is well. Double check my sound. Everything looks like it is working as it is supposed to be working. And I know if it is not, somebody is going to kindly tell me. Good morning, Letitia. I hope your yoga session was fabulous. Good morning, Crystal. Or good afternoon. It really is afternoon, but more. We're going to say morning, afternoon. I have to think of a combo word. Thank you, Crystal. Like, sub, share, support. Good afternoon. Good morning. Hi, Judith. Hey, Crystal. Good morning. Good afternoon. All right. All right. Happy Sunday, good people. I hope everyone is well. I am well. I think my voice sounds a little scratchy, and I will explain all of the things. Um, Happy Sunday experience. Oh, I figured that one out quick. I'm on it. Good morning, experience. This title is in my business. Happy Sunday to you. Um, I love the spelling of your name. It is one of my things to in traffic, like when people have license plates, trying to figure out what it's saying if it's got a different spelling. So I was on point on yours. Unless I've totally missed it, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's what that says. Experience. Welcome, happy Sunday. Your name is new. Welcome to the channel. Happy Sunday, WLJ. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to the Soul Collective. All right. Good morning. Bridget is knocking it out the park. First thing. Happy Sunday. Bridget sent a super chat. Good morning, beautiful people. Happy everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bridget. I so appreciate you. All right, let me introduce myself. I am Jewel Pearson. As I introduce myself, I say that I built a what I call a fancy tiny house. I'm pretty sure it's fancy. In 2015, it was especially fancy for 2015 because I don't believe you have to give up luxury to go tiny. And since that time, I have shared my journey um, to inspire others who are interested in the movement. I do offer coaching and consultations to help others in their tiny house journey. We're going to talk about all of those things. Once this goes live, you will be able to find all of the links to connect with me, to schedule with me in that video description below. And as I'm doing all of that, I serve up a lot of representation in the movement. Everyone is welcome here, but I want us to be able to see ourselves in this movement. I want us to share our joys, our challenges, our successes. I want us to have a space where we can do all of that, and that is this space. I serve up a lot of representation, and I think you all know that. If you find this information, this video helpful, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. Crystal is going to keep reminding you. And turn on the notification so that you'll know when I go live, when new content is available, and all of the things. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Crystal is encouraging the newbies to join the chat. The conversation is always good in the chat. So thank you, Crystal, for doing that. Good morning, Sadiq. Happy Sunday to you. Thank y'all for being here. Experience says the title of this session is In Her Business. The title of this session is Your Season of Asking and Listening. This is something that's really, really personal to me because I know that is the season that I am in, and I feel like that is an energy season that is really is out now that other people are experiencing, and I wanted to talk about that. And so I know you all will participate, share all of the things. Hi, Teresa. Happy Sunday. Glad to have you here in the chat. And so as I was thinking about this, so the interesting thing is, so I am in Atlanta. Yesterday there was an Exodus Summit meetup here in Roslyn, who is part of our tiny house community, part of the Soul Collective, part of the Patreon community, lives here in Atlanta, and she came out and she asked about, was I going live today? And I told her yes. And I told her I didn't know what I was talking about. And then, and she said we would just be in conversation. And then last night, probably about 10 o'clock, what I was talking about came to me, and was personal. And I thought I would share it it was really as I was reflecting on my day. And so I wanted to share and check in with you all on it. So as I was thinking yesterday, I keep hearing people say that I have a glow. And the funny part for me is the last time, and I've shared this here, the last time people said I had a glow is when I was pregnant with my daughter. And I know that is not the glow at this point. But as I have been thinking and checking in with myself, my energy, I feel like my energy is being reflected in my glow. And I am in this place of happiness, this place of peace, this place of liberation that has everything to do. I've shared with you all the book I was reading about a life quake. Crystal, I know your eyes are me talking about being pregnant. Absolutely not. So that would be a medical miracle. So we ain't even got to talk about that. And this season of me asking and listening, and so much of this has to do with, yes, the glow area. Happy Sunday, V. This glow era. Hi, Audra. Hi, Cynthia. Is where I am. It has so much to do with the life quake that I experienced, the medical challenge that I experienced, the mini stroke that I experienced, that has turned into something so beautiful in the liberation of a very stressful job and very stressful situation, that has allowed me the opportunity to focus on myself in ways I have not been able to focus on myself in many years, if ever. And also to see myself in ways that I've not had the opportunity to see myself. Um, and it's one of those things that out of something that was absolutely terrifying and horrible, something beautiful has come about and has afforded me this opportunity to be in a season of asking and listening. Hi, Rosalind. Happy Sunday. I was just saying your name. It was good to see you yesterday. Hi, Frederick. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, them eyes. Oh, no, absolutely not, Crystal. We would be talking about that. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, Queen. Welcome. Thank you for the greetings. And so I just have been reflecting on that. So, as I shared, I'm in Atlanta. Um, I came to Atlanta to go to I actually was Googled or searched on Ticketmaster to see where Earth, Wind, and Fire was going to be. And they were going to be here in Atlanta yesterday, at One Music Fest. And that is how I made the decision that I was coming to Atlanta. I probably am an Earth, Wind, and Fire groupie. I have had the beautiful opportunity to see them several times, and it is really an energy shift. And so I wanted to be here, to see them. So many of the artists that I adore are getting older. Gladys Knight is one of my next favorites, and I've seen her multiple times just because I want to enjoy her while I have in person as I have that opportunity. And the opportunity to be here turned into something even more beautiful because Stephanie Perry is here. My good friend Stephanie, she was going to be here for something else this weekend, and so it just worked out to be able to be in company and community with her, and she hosted a meetup yesterday. That was also a beautiful experience and an opportunity for gathering and connecting with folks. And so as I was kind of pulling together this season of listening and of asking and listening, um, it is really so much of the era, as Crystal call it, the glow era, that I feel like I'm in, where I am listening more, listening and honoring myself, my body, my intuition, my energy, my spirit, listening and asking and listening. I want to say asking, because that's the first step for me. Asking and listening to my body, asking and listening to my energy, asking and listening to spirit, asking and listening to God, asking and listening and checking in with my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my physical health. Not moving in autopilot, because so often we do that. We just move. We're used to doing all of the things. We have these routines. All of the things have to get done: family, work. Um, we've got our day in a automatic pilot routine from sun up to sundown. And I'm not operating in autopilot. I'm able to really pause and to not ignore things and not force things, and asking myself. I was thinking about the questions that I've been asking, and um, as I have been in this season, since December the 23rd, one of my big questions has been, what is the lesson? What is the lesson in this thing, in this experience? The early on in a conversation with Christine Platt, the Afro minimalist, um, she was helping me think, and from that conversation became, or out of that conversation came the reframe of, not why this is happening to me, but why is this happening for me? Hi, Tracy. Um, and reframing that to what is the lesson? What am I supposed to get from this? Not why this is happening to me, but why is this happening for me? Is this an opportunity that I'm not seeing the opportunity yet? But if I think of it in this way, that I can reframe the thought process so that I don't feel victimized. Like, why is this happening to me? I see this as a potential opportunity for learning, for growth, for improvement, for, as I shared with, this life quake, for being in a different space, in a absolutely more beautiful space. So what is the lesson, is one of the questions that I've been asking. Um, Asking, what do I need? What do I need to do? What do I need? And when you're asking, what do you need? That can also, and I keep talking about this is the asking from um, a mental place, an emotional place, a financial place, a physical place. What do I need? Last week, I recognized and had, and Tracy, who just joined, sent me a beautiful push. I recognized that I needed to, there was something I needed from a mental health perspective. And it was something that I'd actually been avoiding my um, therapist, because I knew I wasn't where I'm usually, or where I wanted to be from a mental health perspective. And I was kind of avoiding her, because I wasn't ready to do the work to figure out where I was and where I needed to be and what I needed to do to get to where I needed to be. Tracy sent me a beautiful push to ask me, because I had shared, in a vulnerable place, that I was avoiding my therapist, and she remembered that, and she pushed me to, her question was, was I still avoiding her? The reminder that, I'm checking on you, I'm watching you. Wait a minute. And then even to the point of doing the work to go to the doctor and say, hey, something's not right. I can tell y'all menopause is a whole bitch. um, and the changes, so perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, menopause, all of them, all of the things, all of the cousins, they're awful. And they absolutely impact us. And if we're not willing to do the work to recognize that we're off, we're not offering ourselves the grace to know that we're not where we normally are. For sorry, y'all. For me, it was not pushing myself to be who I've always been, not pushing myself to keep doing the things the way I've always done. I'm pushing through. I've got this list of things to do. I don't feel good, but I'm going to keep pushing. I don't do that anymore. Y'all know I'm a crybaby. So the asking, what am I being led to do? How should I proceed? And I'm okay with stopping and asking and sitting and listening. How do I feel? How does this feel? What am I feeling? And with us being often in autopilot, we don't allow ourselves. I guess folks be saying she get on here every Sunday and she crying. Anyway, and I guess I should have brought some tissue, but y'all know me. By now, y'all know. It is the season of asking, and it is the season of listening. For me, thank you, Rosalind. For me, the beautiful part of this season of asking and listening is the answers are, good morning. The answers are right there. Something that I am asking and want that answer to, something I will read just a few minutes later will be so connected to what it is I was just asking about. Crystal is saying, I struggle with the stopping and listening part. I be making decisions too rashly and end up with hella regrets. It is that pausing, absolutely. Yeah, and I know this is the menopause piece. Audrey is saying it's okay to not be okay. We are here for you. Take your time. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Who? I see y'all feel me. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Crystal, go where you feel comfortable. Go where you feel comfortable. Sacred streams. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The asking. What is the lesson? What do I need to what do I need? What do I need to do? And maybe it's nothing. I'm also learning that I don't always have to do something. Maybe it's nothing. What am I being led to do? How should I proceed? The pausing in that. How do I feel? How does this make me feel? What am I feeling? because sitting with the what am I feeling is a good lesson as well, to understand and to analyze why is this thing making me feel this way, and working through that. Um, Hi, Fortner's Garden. I'm happy to have you here. Um, I shared on um, the socials last week. I was in Target, and I was walking past this little girl, and she had on the absolute cutest outfit. It was bell bottoms. I like flare leg jeans and bell bottoms. She had on bell bottoms, and they had a little design at the bottom. And she had on, and there was some pink in the bell bottoms, and she had on a pink sweatshirt, and she had some pink, it was a pink necklace, like some pink pearls, and her hair was fabulous, and she was so well put together. Um, I think I thought she was, when I stopped and talked to them, I think I thought she was older than 10 because she was also tall, but her mother was also tall. Her mother was on the phone, and as I was passing by the little girl, they were in the aisle. I was passing, they were in the aisle, and I was passing through the main aisle. I wanted to compliment the little girl because she was so cute. Hi, Carol, welcome. And when I looked to the left and realized the mother was on the phone, for just a second, I didn't want to disturb them. And so I was going to stop. I actually physically hesitated and moved on and was going to keep walking. And then I knew I was being led to compliment this little girl, and it was important to me to compliment this little girl. So I stopped and I went back, and I stopped and talked to her to tell her how cute she was and how fabulous she was. Thank you, Black Inspired Engravings. And as I spoke to the little girl, thank you, WLJ. Her mother shared that she had actually a not so good day at school that day, and her mother said that the little girl's best friend had told her that the other little girls had been talking about her, and they were talking about how she dressed, and the little girl and the mother, both of them shared. The little girl said it didn't bother her. The little girl said it didn't bother her. And the mother said that how proud she was that her daughter was unbothered by the little girls talking about her, which for me was huge because this little girl, by this time the mother had shared that she was 10. A 10-year-old so solid in those girls ain't bothering me was a beautiful, beautiful thing for me. And so I was just talking to her and shared how fabulous I thought she was, and that I really, really appreciated her energy of how unbothered she was, and that I hope she always kept that energy of unbotheredness, and her fabulousness. And so then I left talking to them, and I went to check out. I was at the front of the self-checkout, and the next thing I know, the mother came running toward me, and it caught me off guard because the mother was actively crying, and the mother was tall. I have she sent me a picture. We took a picture. The mother was tall, like really tall. She was probably at least 6'2", 6'3". And so she was running, literally running toward me, and she was crying. The little girl was coming behind her, and the little girl had like panic in her face, and she was pushing the basket. So I didn't know what was going on. And the mother was saying something, but it was in tears, and she was trying to say something, but she was actually sobbing. So I stopped because I didn't know, because at first what she was saying wasn't making sense to me. The woman behind me, how they always had that person standing in self-checkout, she stopped because it kind of caught people off guard. Like nobody knew what was happening. But I knew, like I knew who she was, but nobody knew what was happening. The ladies beside me stopped what they were doing, and everybody was kind of watching. And so she started explaining something to me, and then I realized what she said was, "I just figured out who you are." And so I said, "Yes, I live in a tiny house." And so I said, "Let me check out," and I said, "Let's move over," because she was sobbing. And I checked out. We stood over to the side, and she explained to me that she also had been having a bad day, and that she had figured out who I was. She had been having a bad day. She said she recently moved from DC. Her daughter was at a new school, so her daughter was having to adjust, which wasn't necessarily the best situation, since the little girls were giving her a hard time. They had a roommate situation, some type of a housing situation, and something had happened with the roommate housing situation that day that had upset the mother. And so she said she had moved to DC because her intent was, she has somebody in the North Carolina Charlotte area that has access to land, and her intent is to build a tiny house. And she said she had started following me around 2017, 2018, and I had been the reason, the stuff that I shared had been the reason that she knew she could do a tiny house, and this was something that she could do for her and her daughter. And that had been her reasoning for moving from DC to North Carolina. And she said that day she had been in prayer and was asking for a sign, some acknowledgement, an answer to let her know that what she was doing, the direction she was going in, was the right direction. And she said, and then she had just realized that I was in Target, and I had stopped to talk to her daughter. And she was bawling. And I knew, and I shared with her that I almost hadn't stopped to talk. But I felt that I was supposed to talk to the little girl. And then I was listening. And then she had gotten her answer because I did what I was supposed to do. The asking and the listening is the season for the asking and the listening. And if we're not asking, if we're not listening, then we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing in this season. The other beautiful thing about that interaction was the young lady's name was Selah. And y'all know me, that all of that got me. It was for me that I had listened to what I was supposed to do, and I had helped somebody else in that process. The season of asking and listening. And so I'm asking y'all, what is in your season of asking and listening? What is it that what are you asking, and are you listening? I think the big thing is there's so much of, especially in the U.S., not especially in the U.S. for sure, there is such an energy right now that it's not necessarily a good energy, and we have to be careful of what there's just so much. There's this whole political climate. There's this whole multiple genocides that are happening, and it is so much on the spirit, if you're even halfway aware of what's going on in the U.S., in the world. energy of the world. And if you're spiritual, where you feel like we are in this energy of the world, you have to be really careful and temper what you're taking in on your personal energy. Like, there's some things that we may feel like we are obligated to do, or that we should be doing, what our responsibilities are, but also making sure that we are taking care of self when we're tempering what we're taking in, um, how we're engaging, making sure as we're taking in all of this energy that we are also asking and listening to what it is that is our responsibility, how it is that we should be responding, asking ourselves, how is this making me feel? It's a very stressful time. It's a very scary time. It's a very uncomfortable time. Um, and it's one of those things where we have to be asking our physical and our emotional self, how is this impacting me? What is it that I'm supposed to be taking from this? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? How do I feel? How does this how does this feel in my heart? How does this feel in my body? How does this feel in my mind? Like, those are all of the places that we should be checking, for all of the things that are happening in and where we are right now. Hey, Day. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Rachel. I'm glad, Crystal. Um, Rosalind is talking about the perimenopausal random crying spells. Man, when I tell you, you will be having a whole emotional breakdown. And if you're anything like me, the crier that I am, it is just like, okay, what's happening here? But it is also in the asking and in the checking in and in the listening in myself and within my body. I recognize that it wasn't the normal Jewel cry. It was the you need to get something going on. So I'm taking some additional vitamins because postmenopause is a bitch. Um, Crystal says her mama has done a wonderful job in boosting her natural confidence and self-expression. Absolutely. Thank you, Keisha. Salima, as we heal, support, and love ourselves, we heal, support, and love each other. We support and love you, beautiful sister. Thank you so much. Thank you. Absolutely, Cynthia. Like, somebody commented on Facebook that I had hand delivered somebody's message from the universe, and that one stuck me because that's exactly what I did. And I've always been on the other side of that, where a message was delivered to me, and I've not seen myself in the position of delivering someone their message, and that really stuck with me because I know for sure that I was getting ready to keep walking and not stop and talk to the little girl. And it was in the listening that I turned to talk to the little girl because I was being led to talk to her. Um, Thank you, Carol. Crystal is saying we're all connected. Don't ignore your gut. The divine works through us all. Yes, and the intuition, the your energy, your spirit, your intuition, your gut, whatever it is that you call it, that is speaking to you, that is giving you prompts and prods. And if you continue to ignore it, it doesn't prompt and prod as much. It's like the conscious. I remember learning many years ago about your conscious and having a conscious that leads you to do the right things, and that how it will, for people who are, if you would think of them as just bad people or evil people, they once had a conscious, but they continued to ignore it, and so it basically turned off. And so just being aware that we're listening, because we do get those answers as we're asking. Thank you, Tracy. It was absolutely. Thank you, Bridget. We are always where we should be. We are always where we should be. Absolutely. Audrey is saying at 53, I just be still. Yes, it's in that stillness, and that's what I said. The part of my glow and the opportunity to ask and listen has been so much of a stillness that I've not had before. The opportunity to actually be still and to not have responsibilities within a stressful job has opened up so much of an opportunity to sit still, has opened up the opportunity to sit for 3 weeks in San Miguel, to immerse myself in community when I didn't even really know I needed the community that I experienced. And so just being able to listen and to ask and to take in, what is it that what is it that I need? What do I need? What do I need to do? Again, maybe nothing. But being able to check in when oftentimes we don't have that opportunity. Good afternoon, F.E. Gaskin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. That's okay. Bridget is saying I had to unplug from the political rhetoric. It's too heavy. It's very heavy. It's very heavy. And so we're here end of October. This is our last quarter of 2024. This time is moving. And this is the time where we start, thinking of the wrap up of the year. We start thinking, looking into 2025. And that this is so much of the time where we should be reviewing instead of, going into those prompts where I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do, those types of things. I'm going to work out 4 days in the week. Those are the type of things that we normally start looking into 2025, the new year with. But I feel like in this listening, in this asking, and in this listening season, we should be checking in more with our physical and emotional self. Like, where have we succeeded this past year? What do we need to do more of? Where are the areas that we maybe struggled, or where we need more help? Though versus, and I think those will also lend to, I need to lose 20 pounds, but it is the focus less of I need to lose 20 pounds and therefore I'm going to be in the gym 4 days a week. But it is, where do these 20 pounds come from? What is it that I need to be doing from an emotional standpoint that has led to these 20 pounds? Am I feeling depressed? Am I sitting? Am I more sedentary when I would normally be more active? I'm not enjoying my walks anymore that I used to enjoy versus I need to go to the gym. Like what are the things that we can be doing more of or less of, that from a different perspective of I just need to go to the gym more. Thank you, WLJ. That I appreciate that. Tracy is saying, I don't know how people are doing it in the States from a mental wellness standpoint with all the division and tension. Yeah, it's thick, personally. So, we've got is it a week? I don't think we have 2 weeks left, for, the heaviness, for for me, there's some safety concerns. Y'all know I live in rural America. For me, there's some safety concerns. There's some planning I need to do to ensure my physical safety. I want to, as this thing unfolds, whichever direction it goes in. For me, there's um, I want to ensure from a physical safety point, I'm taking care of myself, and so the asking and the listening um, are just so much of where I feel like we have to wrap up this year, and the direction that we have to move in to be sure that we're taking care of ourselves and we're supporting um, ourselves in totality. And that is that pause to, like, so for Crystal, and I'll call Crystal out. Crystal had a health has had a recent health scare. Um, my health challenge, and so much of it was from not listening, and and the reasons I continue to share that is because I don't want anybody else to experience that. It was absolutely horrible. Um, and so much of it for me was I knew something was happening in my body, and my body was telling me, and I did listen. I just didn't advocate enough for myself because I wasn't in the pause. I wasn't in the stillness. I wasn't in the asking and the listening because I was so much in motion. I was so much in the midst of stress that I didn't have time to really sit and listen and to ask my body what was going on, and to require some more in-depth analysis, the MRI or the CAT scan, versus just allowing my doctor to say, listen, with the stethoscope, and say my heart was okay. I didn't advocate for myself in advance of the medical emergency, but I've now since learned in this required stillness, because my body required that you got to listen. We're changing this now. You have to listen, or you can be a fool and not listen, and that's not going to go well for you. And so that is so much of the share, and the don't do what I did, do what I'm telling you to do right now, do what I'm learning to do right now, because that is the better option. um for me, it is also in the asking and the listening for what are the, in addition to the mental and emotional, like what are the goals and the things and the dreams that I want to focus more on. And that's important. As we wrap up 2024, in the Patreon group, we are still connected and talking through like accountability and what it is, what our projects are, and how we're moving them forward. And one of the big things in the dreams and accountability is having the accountability, and because um, we often can't do all of this by ourselves. And so in the asking and the listening, also ensuring that you are surrounding yourself in spaces with people who can support those dreams, those goals, who can support your mental, your physical health, who allow you to be vulnerable, who allow you to share, and you're also being reciprocal. So it's not always the take, but finding those spaces. That was one of the things. So yesterday in the meetup, so there were two things. So we did a meetup on Stephanie's channel where Stephanie had some ladies talk about, local ladies here in Atlanta, talk about their journeys. And then there was a big meetup afterward for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to say at least 50 women were here. Um, And then about maybe 6 or 7 of us had continued the conversation, and everybody commented on how it's not often you have the safe spaces to be in conversation and to gather and to be able to be vulnerable and share your concerns and share, your fears, and to share and to have somebody else that can support that in this conversation where people were exchanging ideas. um, that should also be part of your asking and your listening. Part of my ask is to direct me to um, places where I can find my helpers. And when I say helpers, it's not like somebody to help me do the work. That's the helpers of helping me be a better person, helping me maintain my energy, my physical energy, my emotional energy. Those are the helpers that I'm talking about. And then listening when the answer is given. The answer was given to me in San Miguel. And for me, as you all know, me being so much of, as I talk with Stephanie, the word introvert is a word that she kind of shuns. Not that she doesn't believe it's introversion. She says she's a loner. Sometimes I think loner has a negative connotation, but when I think about that, I'm an introvert, but I'm also used to moving solo. I'm used to making the move and doing things alone. But in my asking and in my listening, recognizing that I do need community, because I have been so used to moving in solo. That was, like I keep saying, that was big for me in San Miguel, and I found beautiful community. And Tracy is here and is a testament, the big example of community, and being open here when Stephanie reached out, and it was a beautiful opportunity. She was going to be here, and then the Exodus Summit community, and then the Patreon community, where we get to share and be even, we have big conversation here, but in Patreon it's more of a safer space that we actually can see each other. We're in conversation, and that's a beautiful opportunity. This community and being able to have these conversations here. And so the asking and the listening, if I'm asking for my helpers, I also have to know when they show up to listen. And that's the biggest piece for me in the asking and listening, in making sure you recognize when the answer comes. And the answer might not be in the form that you thought it was. The answer might not even be the answer that you thought it was going to be, but being open to that answer. Let me see what y'all are saying. Teresa said that was God tapping you on the shoulder to let you know that they both needed to see, hear, and feel your support at that moment. Absolutely. Because the thing for me, as she shared, and she was so emotional, I knew that I almost didn't stop and talk, and I knew that I had been directed to stop and talk, and I was so happy I had listened. Sacred Stream says the U.S. is heavy. Absolutely. Rosalind says she's going to continue to embrace her perimenopause, spare tire, and still be cute. Losing weight is not a priority for me. Thank you, Crystal. Like, share, support. Audrey was saying, when I don't have quiet or personal space, anxiety ramps up. So I lay for an hour with Coltrane and allow him to speak life into me. While my lady sleeps, always soothes my soul. I love that. So, Earth, Wind, and Fire, their song "Way of the World" is that is reduces me to tears every time I hear it. I was unashamedly uh, listening last night and crying in at one music fest because that song speaks to me. It speaks one of the lines in the song speaks about a child, how a child is born with a heart of gold, and then the way of the world changes that child's heart and turns it cold. And if you Earth, Wind, and Fire says that's their national anthem, and it is so much of when you think about life and how um, the innocence of children, your own innocence, even some of it in as an adult, but the world can turn so much of it cold. And absolutely, that is one of the things that, and the song is beautiful. That's not like the only piece of the song, but it is so much of how we have to be careful of the heaviness in this world and still protect ourselves, our energy, our mental, our physical, emotional energy um, within the world. Um, I think, Carol, you're saying how to move forward. I know you meant to say not in fear. Sacred Steams is saying physical and energetic state safety. Absolutely. Um, yeah, Crystal, and I called you out in love because I know we both have been there and we're saying the same things. We weren't listening, and so we can share our experience as an example for others of why it's so important to ask and to listen in those situations, asking the body what is going on and listening and trusting that. Bridget is saying, can you explain what advocate for yourself means, Miss Jewel? Absolutely. So I have shared in this medical journey that I've been on since December the 23rd, and where I had 2 surgeries. I can't even count the number of doctor appointments I had. And when I even go back before the medical experience on December the 23rd, I went to the doctor on December the 1st and said I knew something was happening in my chest. I felt the fluttering happening before I actually had the mini stroke. And my mini stroke was as a result of learning that I had a hole in my heart, and a blood clot went through that hole. But what had been happening was kind of like I've had this hole for 57 years, but it was the stress that had started activating things happening and blood moving in places that it should not have been moving. And I felt that my body was talking to me. I felt it. I knew it was stress. I knew I was feeling that stress in my body. So on December 1st, if I had been advocating for myself better, instead of allowing my doctor to listen through to my chest with a stethoscope and say, your heart is fine, I would have said, as a precaution, can you send me for an MRI? Can you send me for a CAT scan? If I had been better advocating for myself. And so what I then had to do after I experienced this medical thing, the multiple doctor appointments, what I recognized is it's business for them. They have to see so many patients a day. They have limited time with each patient. And so they're not volunteering extra things. They're not volunteering necessarily going the extra mile for you. And I'm not saying they don't care. I'm saying the way the medical system is set up in the United States is they don't really have the opportunity to care. I absolutely believe the majority of doctors go into their craft from a perspective of wanting to help people. I believe that. But I also believe that in the course of medical being big business, pharmacy being big business, they don't have the opportunity to expand on that craft of caring. They have to follow these things to meet their quotas and to do all of the things and to meet these numbers and the revenue. All of that kind of stuff factors in. And so we as individuals have to advocate for ourselves. There were so many times where I had to Google something because the answers I got didn't set well with me because I was asking and listening. And I then went back to ask some additional questions. One of the things I think I shared with this group was how I had been given a heart, a device oh God, manage to notify them I was having abnormal heart rate and rhythm, and they had given me I can't think of my word right now, but a device to monitor my heart rhythm. They had given me one that I knew was an older version, and I knew there was a new version that could automatically a heart monitor. Jesus, I knew it could absolutely automatically monitor my heart rate and rhythm versus me having to make notes of it. And I went back and required that they gave me that device. It was the very next morning that a nurse reached out to me to say they had been notified that I was having an extremely dangerous heart rhythm and I had to go see the doctor immediately. If I hadn't advocated for myself for that updated device, by the time I had made notes, sent in the device, they reviewed the notes, I could potentially been dead. Um, I've had to advocate for this medicine isn't working like it should, or this medicine is making me feel this way. And when it's a symptom or something that they're not used to, um, a reaction that they're not used to. And I'm saying it's happening. It's not something that you don't necessarily expect from this, but it is happening and requiring them to deal with me. It is asking the question over and over because they'll ignore you. So knowing that you are your first priority and the asking and the listening to you, your body, and requiring that they then follow up because you have to be your number one. And that is what I'm saying in advocating for yourself. And that is just the experience in the medical field. But advocating for ourselves, sometimes that has to happen at the job. It has to happen at school. I've always had to be an advocate for my daughter in school because you have to, especially when you think about people who are in positions where they have to manage a lot of things, they have to manage a lot of people, they have a lot of responsibilities. You can't trust that they are looking out for your best interest, or your child's best interest, and so you then have to do. And sometimes it feels like being pushy. Um, in the as I was doing this from a medical perspective, I had to always be cautious that I wasn't being nasty because you don't want to piss off the people that you need to help you, but you also want to get your point across. You want to be heard. Sometimes I say it as like a nice nasty, where I'm not being nasty about it, but there's just enough of a tinge to this conversation that I mean business, and I need you to respond. And if I have to keep following up, or if I have to escalate it because I'm not getting the proper answers, that is what I mean in advocating. And we have to advocate for ourselves, and even more so as black and brown folks, we have to advocate for ourselves, especially in the medical field, because they're within the medical field, as in so many of this, as all of the systems in the United States, the foundation of it is racism, and so we have to be our own advocate, and we have to make sure we're our main priority. Effie is saying, I'm trying to slow down and not be in such a hurry. Stop, listen, ask questions if I don't understand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Crystal is saying, most people who think they're introverts are actually ambiverts. I just saw that definition of an ambivert yesterday, and I tagged a friend who I believe is an ambivert in it, because she said she's an introvert, and she's so has some extroverted traits. I believe she's an ambivert, but I still don't believe I'm an ambivert. But I did just see that word yesterday. That's interesting. Carol is saying, at this time, I've got to ground myself again and resume listening to following the direction God is leading me. It's so easy to, like I was saying before, to not pause and to be in autopilot, and not necessarily intentionally ignoring, but because we are moving and moving fast and all the things have to get done, you're not focused on what's being communicated to you. Audra says, trust and reciprocity is my biggest issue, and I am a therapist. When the therapist tells you trust and reciprocity is a big issue, then it makes sense why it's a big issue for the rest of us. Audra, I absolutely 150% agree with you that trust and reciprocity is also my issue. It is my issue because I know myself to be a giver. And the reciprocity is often lacking. The reciprocity is either non-existent or it's lacking, almost half-assed. So this is big for me. This has been big for me. But in my asking and in my listening and in my asking for my helpers, I've had to forgive for those places where the reciprocity wasn't there, and take that as the learning lesson to move cautiously, but trust that there are some folks who will reciprocate. And the beautiful, beautiful thing for me as somebody who has trust issues around reciprocity is that I can confirm that it happens. It will happen. And I have been a naysayer on reciprocity. That has been one of my things. But I can confirm that it will happen if you get to those right people. I'm not saying go all out at 150%, because I know I have to be cautious. But you can't lead from a place of distrust or fear. And so you have to trust that it's going to happen. And I feel that at 150%. Teresa says, when God taps me and says, stop and listen, I do as I ask. It isn't a gentle nudge. It is a stop you in your tracks billboard sign. That's interesting. Because you all know, some of y'all might remember, before, months and months before my medical experience, I had been on here, and I was laughing that I live out on a farm with a great big old field. And I was saying I would really like a sign out in that field, like the burning bush. Like, can you just write, God, can you just write me a note out there so you can just tell me exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing? Right out here in this field, you can write the whole thing. It's plenty of access to write me a whole big long note. So mine doesn't come in. It doesn't generally come in billboard signs. It is the nudge. It is the note. It is the something that I read that was a thought that I just was having, something that I randomly read, and it's not really randomly because it is the answer to what I was just wondering and thinking. So I don't get the big billboard signs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. Geraldine is saying, "Hi, Geraldine. Your name is new here, I think. Welcome. Sometimes you have to just rest in your silence and sit still. With that peace, your answers will come. Absolutely. But if you don't have that, if you're not resting, if you're not sitting, if you don't have that silence, like if you always have some noise around you, you're not able to listen. And so, absolutely, you have to have some of that silence. Yes, Bridget. Thank you, Heart Monitor. Um, for those of you who don't know, as I've shared, and I'm very comfortable in sharing it. One of the things that is my result from my mini stroke is that my word recall um, was very impacted. And my memory and my word recall have been very impacted. So words, like I'll know the word. It's a word I know well, and I just can't get it to come up. I'm also learning that my spelling has been impacted. And I'm having to give myself grace because some really simple words have started eluding me on how to spell them, and I've always been the scholar. So, but the grace of I am here and I'm okay. I just might not be able to spell right now, or I might not be able to pull up the word. So, for those of you who haven't known that, I'm happy to share that. So, I lean on you all to help me figure out my words sometimes, and I thank you for doing that. Absolutely, Teresa. Absolutely. Geraldine is speaking about sometimes as Black women we are invisible in especially in our medical industry, and we do. Hi, Kathy. Happy Sunday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, yes, Bridget is saying ask for the doctor's notes at your visit. So, so many of the doctors now have the portals, and so all of your notes are available. I recommend downloading them so that you have access to them. All of that is important, absolutely. Um, GS GHS Cougar is saying it took 10 years of going through multiple doctors to get my lupus diagnosis. We have to stand up, stand strong, and be our own advocate. Absolutely. Fortness Carter's your recent wellness story and journey is in many ways my story. I'm very thankful to have you in this tribe. Thank you. Um, I need to drop some links because I've spoken about um, community. I'm grateful for my community as the solo dolo loner introvert move about by myself. I'm grateful for this community here, the Patreon community, the communities that I have been able to form within the last few months. That especially like going into um, my medical my medical stuff and knowing I really was going to need to ask for help. I needed help. I couldn't do all of it by myself, and not knowing what that was going to look like because my circle is really small. And then folks showing up in major ways to help me navigate that journey has been amazing. And I'm very grateful for it and appreciative for it. As when I talked to Stephanie about it, because Stephanie showed up in a big way, and she said it's exactly what you would do, and that goes back to that reciprocity, because you do it, but you don't necessarily know or get to expect that others will do it. So, absolutely. So Patreon, I'm dropping the link to Patreon if you're looking for community, and you are interested in a deeper tiny house community. Please join us in Patreon. As we're talking fourth quarter headed into 2025 and assessing what our dreams and our goals are. One of the things that I mentioned me asking for my helpers. I also know that I have some dreams and goals that I want to focus on within the tiny house movement and the tiny house journey. My biggest thing right now is moving my house and navigating all of that because it is going to be Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty is going to have to fall and break apart, and Humpty Dumpty has to be put back together, and it's going to be major, and it's got to be a well coordinated effort. So that is the biggest thing that I'm focused on right now. But I'm also, there's so many things that I want to offer within the movement for people in the journey. So many educational things, and so many. Opportunities for community in this journey because associating with like-minded people on the journey and people who can help you navigate a space when you can't figure out what to do, they've already done it, or vice versa, or even accountability partners to help each other navigate an unknown space. That's really important. And so putting together those things and making sure I have the business tool to support. And that has been part of a conversation that I've had the opportunity to have with Tracy. She's got the business acumen to help me in that direction, and she's leading in that direction. And so that's one of the things that I'm focused on for moving into 2025, and the ways that I want to grow my work and the offering that I have for you all, and being able to offer that efficiently, and being able to offer the spaces for community, because as we continue to move in these directions, as our climate is showing us, we need those spaces of community. We need each other. We need those safe spaces to have conversation. And then again, the helpers and the accountability people. I set up an accountability partner because I want to write my book, and I haven't been successful in doing that on my own. So I now have an accountability partner who also is slacking on writing her book. And so hopefully we can, as I'm sharing, you need the person that can help you navigate things and learnings and doing things together. So that's also one of the things that I'm focusing on. Okay, Crystal, I will do that. Thank you. I'm going to drop the link to get on my calendar. If you want some one-on-one conversations and help, I'm always available. So I'm dropping the link to get on my calendar. Crystal is asking me to share my PayPal and Cash App. Thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. My advocacy inspires people to think about what truly matters and build for the life they want, not let life just happen. Thank you, Lakeisha. I adore you. Lakeisha has been a beautiful add to my community, and I appreciate you much. Your support and your energy. Let me do what Crystal told me to do. Crystal, I am going to figure out how to add you as an admin at some point. Let me share this because I can't multitask. Thank you, Lakeisha. Get on my calendar. I'm borrowing words from Stephanie, as she always says, for folks in the future who will be watching this. I'll drop all of these. I'll make sure all of these links are in the description, and make sure y'all say hello, as Stephanie says. Don't just come up here, but y'all do. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure you say hello. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Crystal is saying we all need to do better for ourselves. Thank you for preaching, teaching, and sharing. Rosalind had me laughing yesterday when I said, at first I said I didn't know what I was going to be talking about. And she said, we'll just have church. And then what I wanted to talk about came to me. So I thank you all for being here and for participating in that. Hey, Dee. Buen dia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Carol is saying sometimes we have to walk away to find that specialist doctor that listens and hears our concerns. The respect for the person seeking help shows they care and may work to resolve the problem. Absolutely. The doctor who listened to me who on December 1st I spoke to, that just listened with the stethoscope. I had him as my doctor for 17 years. I haven't seen him since. I sought out doctors that have been taking the extra step because that's important. And again, that goes into advocating. I didn't even have to, say anything. I ain't got to go off on them. I ain't got to do any of that. I just found the places to go so that I could feel respected, as you're saying, Carol, so that I could feel listened to. Because sometimes things run their course. He's been fabulous as I thought for 17 years. Sometimes things run their course. A dollar at a time. Okay, a dollar saying hello. The conversation is quite interesting. I'm just listening. Welcome. Ask and listen. That's what we're talking about. So welcome. Let's talk about it with Mara. Good morning. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Glad you hear that. Kathy is saying I needed to hear that about trust and reciprocity. I have big issues as well. Trust takes time. It does. But as I am trusting, as I'm asking, as I'm listening, and as I'm trusting, I also know that if we hold up too long in those places of I've got trust issues and I'm scared to put myself back out there, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And the longer we stay in those places, the harder it will be for us to come out of them. And so ask me how I know. I'm speaking from personal experience. So yes, come on out, come trust. Don't give it all away, but step out slowly. Don't stay in that space of not trusting, because it is possible. Effie is saying, I think it's also we also have to be very careful, especially during this political time, of what we allow into our gates and focus on what we are watching, listening to, feeling, even eating. Absolutely. That is exactly what I said, tempering what we're listening to and what we're absorbing and what we're allowing into our spirit. Absolutely. I agree with that 150%. Crystal is saying, please consider doing a crowd fund for your move. There are many that would contribute to it. Thank you, Crystal. You know what I want to hold on to that crowd fund for is once I get settled into my move, I am coming for the crowd fund because I want to create the community. And I have access to some land and what I want to create, and I don't have the money for the land. And so that is where my crowd fund ask is going to come. So thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I know that. And if I need to, I will ask, but I want to hold that for the crowd fund because I want it to be something that is absolutely going to benefit all of us. It is going to be the joy of me having the opportunity to create it, and then the joy of knowing that I'm creating something for people in the movement, for the community that is going to be so well needed. So I thank you for the reminder for that. Get on my calendar. What else? What other ways? Workshops. I still have workshops. I'm going to revamp those workshops at some point in the future. But I do still have some workshops. So you can, if you're take a workshop, if that's if your dreams and goals involve tiny houses. I also have a meetup happening November the 9th. A meetup is local to Charlotte. It is free. You can come join, be in community for that meetup. It is free. It is local to Charlotte. If you are in the Patreon community, you do get virtual access to the meetups, and so you can participate virtually if you're not local. The November meetup is November the 9th. The December meetup is also already scheduled, and it is December the 14th. So dropping that link as well. Come get in community, come find your people, come ask some questions. November 9th meetup, Sailor from Coastal Tiny Homes will be participating. He is local to the Charlotte area. He is a tiny house builder. I had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to visit his site and see two of his houses that he has built, and I really thought they were built well. And his prices are good prices. And so I want to introduce him to our community and give folks an opportunity to see his houses and ask him questions about his build process and bills and etc. So he will be our guest at the November meetup, and then the December meetup we will be talking in person to Deidre Kolb from Poplar Creek Tiny House Community, and she'll be talking about creating a tiny house community and answering some questions there. So that's November and December's meetup. The meetups are free. You're welcome to join. Being community. I want to offer those spaces for you all, and so there's that. Carol is saying, drop my link for merchandise. Y'all keep me on point. I appreciate y'all. I got my cut and paste together today, so thank y'all for reminding me of all the things that I should be dropping and sharing. So I do have merchandise that is available. There is the link for my merchandise shop. Thank y'all for asking for that. I was able to connect with Frederick last month, and I owe some folks in the Patreon community a T-shirt, and Frederick showed me his T-shirt he had hanging in his office. So I need to get some of y'all your T-shirts. Sacred Streams is saying Stephanie Perry has helped me change my life, progressing, always progressing. Absolutely. She is a blessing to me. She is, as I was talking about asking for helpers, she is a blessing to me. Stephanie has this spirit of sharing. You know that there are some people who will absolutely gatekeep on different things. Stephanie is an open book. She just shares. She'll give you some tips just in conversation of things that you can and should be doing. And I love that about her. Her energy is such a beautiful space. And I've connected through her with other people who carry that same energy. So she's also a blessing to me. She's a blessing, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. She and Rashida, maybe that's not correct English, her and Rashida, with women who are making the exodus, and seeing the light bulb go on, and the as they're saving their lives and saving themselves, and thinking of things that they seeing things in ways they had not considered before, and then find a community, other like-minded women who are doing the same, so that they know they're not out there alone, and finding accountability partners. So that's a beautiful thing to witness and be able to see. You're very welcome, Carol. A Night is saying, please feed your bodies live food and juices from the earth. That's important as you're considering what you're feeding to your body. Absolutely, that is important. Oh, Keisha, thank you. Same. It is so mutual. Hi, Taylor. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I see some new names. Welcome. Good afternoon to everybody. The new names that I see. Welcome to this channel. Welcome to the Soul Collective community. Our chat and community is a beautiful space. So we're happy to see you all here. And thank you for joining. I hope you'll continue joining and showing up. And I hope you get something good from this conversation in our community. Cynthia, it's mutual. Thank you, doll. Hi, Abigail. Welcome. Teresa's saying she needs my jacket. So I have repurposed my jacket. This was my Bald Boss jacket, and I bought some bought some new, since I have hair now. The Bald Boss was an interesting wear, and so I bought some new patches and wrong arm. Let me see. Yeah, so there's up underneath here is a patch that said something about being bald, and I put another patch on top of it. And over here too, another. There was a bald something about being bald patch underneath there. This said something about being bald, so I just put another patch over it. So I have repurposed my jacket. Thank you. I love it. I keep hearing that I should. Oh, here's one you can see. There was another patch up underneath it, and I put this over it. Like I wasn't getting ready to undo all of those patches and start over. It was like that was just too much work. And then the back I showed yesterday. I'm gonna show y'all the back. Let me see. The back is a T-shirt. I cut it out of a T-shirt and had it put. I did it at the alteration shop. I didn't sew all this, so let me not even make y'all think I had that skill. But I wanted to repurpose my jacket because I love the jacket, but the Bald Boss piece of it was no longer applicable. So thank you. I appreciate that. I keep hearing that I should sell these jackets. I don't think that's my ministry right now, but we'll see. Hi, Marissa Price. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy to see you in my chat. I know your name and face. Happy to see you here. And thank you. Thank you for being here. What else? Let's see. Sacred Streams is saying, our funding is coming in. Transfer of wealth is just time, and I'm here for it. Thank you. I agree with that. Funding is not always financial, so thank you for reminding me of that. Tracy is saying, it's a pleasure watching your lives. Please share where your plan is to purchase land. Will it be out of the country? No. So, and thank you for asking. The tiny house community that I want to create is in the United States. It will be, let me speak it into existence, 45 minutes outside of Charlotte. Charlotte isn't amenable to tiny houses on wheels, and so it will be one of the smaller cities outside of Charlotte. As of right now, it would be the first community that close to Charlotte. Deidre's community, Poplar Creek, is about an hour and a half from Charlotte in Ruffton. Y'all should be proud of me. Ruffton, North Carolina, even though it's spelled Rutherfordton, Ruffton, as they say, North Carolina, and that's about an hour and a half from Charlotte. And so the community I'm interested in creating, or I plan to create, it would be 45 minutes outside of Charlotte. And it would be a community for tiny houses on wheels. So thank you. Thank you for that compliment, and thank you for asking. For Forever Eclectic says, I always enjoy your insight. I fell backwards on ice a few years ago and have had the same side effects regarding memory and forgetting words. P.S. I'm the person that went on that treasure hunt. The treasure hunt. I'm not sure I remember that. That might be a clue I'm supposed to remember. Help me out. I don't remember. That sounds terrible. That sounds very painful. I'm glad you're okay. That, oh my God, that just, whew, that hurts as I think about it. But I can relate to your journey of the word recall and the memory. WLJ is asking, is there a Patreon schedule? So we have yes, there is a Patreon schedule. We have our monthly call, our monthly accountability group. That monthly call is every second Wednesday of the month. So we have one coming up the second Wednesday in November, second Wednesday in December, and so on. There are the access to the meetups is also in the community right now. My intent for first of the year is to start doing I want to start talking more about community and do some educational things around community, looking at some um, communities of the past that are no longer in existence for whatever reason. A lot of it having to do with racism and white supremacy, but also looking at the foundation of those communities, what went well, what would have worked well. And as I'm trying to move into creating community, like lessons learned and some of those things, but even from a historical standpoint, I want us to look at communities of the past. So many communities that we don't know that were in existence that no longer are because of um, oftentimes racism, but being able to delve into community a bit more. So yes, that is there. Bridget is asking, have I ever considered moving abroad? As of right now, I don't want to, and I'm saying as of right now because I also reserve. I've learned not to speak in absolutes for so many things and reasons. But I, at this time, don't have a desire to move abroad full time. I do want to live abroad part time. And as I see that right now, it is, especially in winter months. I don't do winter, even as we have a mild winter in North Carolina, I don't like the gray days. I don't like cold weather. So I would see myself being out of the country for that time period. And then the opportunity to travel about and see different places. Travel gives me a lot of energy. I like to to travel. So I don't, as of right now, see myself living abroad full time, but that could absolutely change. Thank you, Rosalind. Hi, Rosebud. Thank you. Welcome. Hi, Black Butterfly. That's beautiful. So I can't take the credit for physically having designed my jacket, but thank you. Stephen, hello. May I use the same Cash App info? Absolutely. And thank you. Absolutely. I appreciate you all so much. Oh, Forever Eclectic is saying I had a time finding your PayPal link. Did I share PayPal? PayPal is Miss Bohemian Soul, MS Bohemian Soul, or Miss JD Pearson at Gmail. I'll drop that next time. I'll add that. I'm sorry, but it is MS Bohemian Soul is PayPal. Thank y'all for your generosity. Thank you in advance. I appreciate you all so much. Letitia is asking, was that area flooded? You're talking about Poplar Creek. I'm sure. Fortunately, no. It is in the air. It is in that area where the majority of the flooding, the big major flooding, happened. Fortunately for that community, they only had minor trees down, branches, cleanup like that, and then they lost power. But fortunately, they did not have any of the flooding, and that was I was concerned, but very happy that that did not happen for them. All right, good people. Asking and listening. Being in community. finding your people, finding your safe spaces, taking care of yourself, and the asking and the listening, also checking in with yourself from a mental and emotional and physical standpoint, listening to your body, as someone said, making sure you're eating the right things, and you're as you're taking in physical food, also that figurative food. What else did we talk about? We talked about a lot of stuff. Ways I can help you. I've dropped all the links. Checking in with our dreams, and we've talked about that before. But as we're wrapping up this year, and we know things are heavy, making sure that we're still focused on the things that bring us joy, focused on the liberation. I'm going to continue to share how my tiny house is so much a part of my liberation journey. Such a big part of my liberation journey, such a big part of my happiness, my joy. It is my safe space, and I've loved a lot of my spaces. I've never been as connected to a space as I am to my tiny house, and my appreciation for my tiny house and what it has brought to me, to my life, and the opportunities it has afforded me. So that is so much of the journey that I want you all to also have, if that is your desire, and for me to be able to help you achieve that, is your desire. What are we asking? As part of your consulting services, do you help people locate property for tiny houses? I plan to develop a small tiny house community, 10 units on the West Coast. I'm tripping because I have a whole website, Find Tiny House Parking. How did I forget that, y'all? I do. FindTinyHouseParking.com is designed just for that. People who want to connect, people who have land who want to allow tiny house parking, people who have tiny houses and are looking for parking, people who want to create community together. It allows for that connection. People who, builders, and as I think about it, it's the small builders who don't already have their brand established, a general contractor who's built a tiny house on wheels or on foundation. The smaller contractors who need access to share their expertise, that is there in that as well. And then for tiny houses for sale or for rent, it's also available there. So findtinyhouseparking.com is the site where you would be able to do that. So absolutely, that is available. That is the work that I did with creating that app. Tracy is saying, I also want to move out of the country for the 6 months a year with the 2026 target date. I'm in Northeast Ohio, and I'm so over the cold weather. I have been trying to select a location. Have you settled on a place? So what had always been my number one place was Panama. I don't want to be that far from being able to get back to the U.S. if I need to. Panama checks that box. I also want to be somewhere where they don't have major storms. Panama checks that box. Panama also has a big city vibe to it with high rises. That's one of my favorites. I'm gonna show y'all my view right here of Atlanta. I love the big city vibe. That's energy for me. Panama has that. Panama also, with the canal, has access to things that some of the other smaller countries don't have access to. So Panama has always been that. My 3 weeks in San Miguel and the community in San Miguel now has San Miguel kind of pushed at the top of the list. And San Miguel isn't the big city vibe, but it has a beautiful, beautiful energy. The people there are very warm. And then it also has a beautiful Black expat community. So San Miguel kind of inched up to the top. And that's Mexico. I also want to visit Guadalajara, which I understand has, it looks like it has um, the big city vibes, even though it doesn't have the community that San Miguel has. And then Querétaro, and I always say that wrong, is also a place I want to visit. But San Miguel has a big draw for a number of reasons. And then I told y'all about my love affair with the grocery store named City Market. So City Market, as I understand it, is in all of those places. And so Panama does not have a city market, and that is the most fabulous grocery store I've ever met in life. So yeah, that's big for me. So those are the places that are on my list. I could not do Ohio at all. Um, Before I built my tiny house 1 October, I just packed up and moved to Florida because I was like, I don't want to do winter again. So I can relate. I just, the gray days, the cold weather just does so much to my spirit negatively. Um, Carlisa is saying spiritual health and self care is for me the real self care, resting in the divine power and escaping self sufficiency. Yeah, that's the self care. It's not the getting a massage or that we have to do the real work for self care. Absolutely. Um, Crystal is saying the link change. So it's two links. It is cooperative communities is the actual name of the site. And so cooperativecommunities.org is still the site to get to findtinyhouseparking.com. I just purchased that domain and have it directed to cooperative community. So you are correct. It is the link changed, but I wanted to add something that was also easy to remember. Somebody's always looking for tiny house parking. So Find Tiny House Parking was available, so I snatched it up and have it directed to cooperativecommunities.org. Glorious Life on Wheels. Oh, I'm looking for property to purchase. I have builders, just not the land. So no, I can't. I can't help in the purchasing of the land that because you're going to have to look into the rules and regulations for the land. I can help you understand what it is that you need to be looking for as you're looking for land, but I can't actually help you with finding the land. That's not. Oh, Chris was saying I'm not a realtor yet. That's not my domain of expertise. Oh, Frederick is saying, "I'll wear your shirt like a trophy once I'm in my tiny art gallery." I appreciate that, Frederick. Frederick has a beautiful space. He got to show me his space and his plans for the things that he is working on. So I appreciated that, and I appreciate you. Yvette Boone creates a saying, San Miguel is that girl. I agree. She said City Market got a chokehold on you, and it's a whole damn grocery store. it, but it is the most amazing grocery store. Listen, I went in there 5 or 6 times. Every time I went, I didn't buy something every time I went in there, other than maybe some gelato. If I didn't need to buy groceries, I would go in there to buy gelato. You have never seen a grocery store that has a bougie restaurant with the waiter with the towel over his arm in a black suit where you got to dress up and sit in the restaurant in a grocery store. Bougie grocery store, 2 bars, gelato shop, bougie salad bar, bougie wine selection that is probably bigger than many grocery stores. Um, Breads, just the artesian breads. I said salad bar. All of the things that. Oh, and like healthcare section, like lotions and all the things. Um, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, the co-working, the working space where you could sit and read a book or be in conversation, that had fireplaces. You've never seen a grocery store like City Market, and it is right there in San Miguel, and apparently in some other cities in Mexico. um, City Market brought me joy. And so that is why I'm blushing. It sounds so goofy, but City Market brought me joy just to walk around in there and just like, this is fabulous. I appreciate fabulousness, and it was fabulous. So yes, I feel goofy, and that's probably why I'm blushing. But City Market was everything. It was life. Um, Tracy, Tracy is saying, I will check out those places. I've never traveled outside the U.S. My daughter and I just got out our passports, and we're looking for our first adventure. Those, so people talk about soft landings and places that you can go and you will feel comfortable for like your first travels outside the U.S. I would absolutely say that San Miguel is one of those places. Panama as well. Not hard to navigate. Um, so yes, those are some places that I would recommend. Um, yes. Um, okay. Teresa is saying her cousin Billy. So Billy, she connected me to Billy. He is a realtor. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Rosalind is saying, I want to go to San Miguel just to see this grocery store. Um, when you go and when you get back, you're gonna say but while you're over there, you're gonna say, Jewel was absolutely right about this damn grocery store. Like I feel like at this point, I should reach out to them and ask them, can I be some type of spokesperson for them? It's because I'm encouraging people to go to San Miguel or Querétaro, or I think I done said Querétaro almost right 3 times, or Guadalajara to go to City Market. So I feel like I should be their spokesperson, but yeah, y'all better go. Um, High class and bougie on a budget. So I'm not exactly sure it was on a budget. If I lived there full time, um, some of the stuff was pricey. Maybe I wouldn't go there all the time. I don't know. I'm serious about my groceries, so I don't. I might go there all the time. I'm not necessarily saying it was on a budget, but it was absolutely worth my 5 or 6 trips there. Um, um, So bougie grocery store doesn't sound like third world to me. So one of the things, so I think one of the things that folks in the U.S. will say is third world countries. They aren't third world countries. That is the arrogance of the United States. They are all countries just like we are a country. They have some of them have their challenges, and so many of their challenges are as a result of the United States. So, um, um, but I want to encourage us not to call them third world countries. They are countries within their own rights, beautiful places, beautiful people. Um, so much of the arrogance of the United States makes us think that they are less than when they absolutely aren't. And when you think about the healthcare system of so many of those countries, they have a much better healthcare system than the United States. Our healthcare system could be considered third world as we look at so many of their healthcare systems. They even still have doctors that will come visit you at your house and actually care about you. So let's be cautious in our language so that we're not perpetuating um, white supremacy, because that is so much of how they're taught to look down on other countries, specifically countries of black and brown folks. So yeah, but it does. They have the bougiest grocery store, bougiest. Oh, Crystal is saying Soul Collective field trip. Y'all let me know. Let's go. Let's go. Tracy is saying, I followed you for 3 years and Stephanie for 4. You two have inspired me so much. Looking forward to meeting you two at a meetup soon. I look forward to that. Thank you, Tracy. Glad to have you here. Yes, get your passports. Get your passports. I shared yesterday. That's important. Um, Having an option to leave is very important. I encourage everybody, get your passport. I shared yesterday that I always have my passport in my purse at the ready, because I don't always trust the United States, and if I need to go, I want to be able to go. I don't want to have to go home and get ready. If you what they say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get your passport. That's important. That's very important. WLJ said, you have me asking my coworker from Mexico if she had been there. So maybe the locals aren't as they got to be impressed. Everybody's got to be impressed with City Market. I don't know. Maybe they not. Maybe they don't go there. Maybe it is a little more bougie than they prefer to do on a regular as folks there. But listen, it is everything. City Market is everything. Thank you, Carlisa. I appreciate you so much. Thank y'all for the love today. Crystal says we need a video tour next time you're there. I will absolutely do that. I finally posted my pictures from San Miguel on my Facebook page. And I recognize I don't have any pictures of City Market. I don't know how I did that. I don't have any pictures of the connections, the community there. Like I was beautifully in community, and I don't have any pictures of that, but just beautiful memories of the community. So I feel like I was being present. And so maybe that's what I was doing in City Market, being present, and I didn't take any pictures of my new love. But when I go back, I will absolutely give you all a video tour. They probably put me out. Like, lady, what are you doing in here? Yes, yes. The U.S. is the biggest third world country regarding healthcare. Absolutely. Yes. So thank you. Um, a little bit of pushback. Nothing third world about the healthcare provided as a nurse practitioner. So wasn't necessarily saying ours is third world. I was speaking to the fact that the languaging of third world. What I was saying about our healthcare is how there is some arrogance in the United States that we often feel like we're so much better than other places. But when we think about other countries and their healthcare systems and how whole countries have access to healthcare versus the United States, where there's so many people who don't have access to healthcare, don't have access to good healthcare, and we know the communities that are impacted the most by that. We also know that pharmacy, that medicine is actually big business. And so oftentimes, instead of working on healing, we know that the answer is to provide some medicines that are going to keep you in that cycle of not necessarily wellness, but because there's some profit to be made, let's prescribe this medicine. I can from firsthand experience, when my cousin had a major medical experience and he was in Brazil, in a coma. His body turned sepsis, and the experience of what the way the doctors went above and beyond in ensuring access to medical equipment, cutting edge medical equipment. They absolutely saved his life, and I don't believe, had he been in the United States, he would have lived as major as his experience was. So, not necessarily saying our healthcare is third world. What I am saying is it could be a lot better, and there are some other countries that folks might want to call third world that are showing us that healthcare is and should be accessible to all, and how they're rolling it out so that they they show that they really actually care about the person. The fact that in Brazil, because I had to go as kind of a last minute. I didn't have my one of my medicines that I take, that I um, pay nicely for here in the States, and was able to walk into a pharmacy in Brazil and ask for that medicine without a prescription, and paid $5 for it. So the access to healthcare, the access to medicines, is approached differently. So I'll share that as to my thoughts as to what I said. So as a nurse practitioner, I know that not everybody has access to healthcare, and that not everybody is, as I was saying before, the time that you have as an opportunity to connect with a doctor, in the ways we have to advocate for ourselves, the ways we know. For Black women, pregnancy, the loss of life, as we're not listened to, as someone just shared about their lupus diagnosis, how we're invisible. Like there are studies out there that show that there are challenges for Black folks in the medical system here. So it's not something that I am just bashing the United States for, without actual data that supports what I'm speaking to. All right. Thank you, Crystal. Have a great day. That's true, the real license. Thank you, Crystal. I hope you have a great day, a beautiful week. All right, I'm getting ready to go as well. AC Anita, welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes, a country that's fueled off of being sick and working to death. Absolutely. Denise, welcome, first time watcher. Oh, you live in Querétaro. Look at that. But you live in Querétaro, have been enamored of tiny houses for a long time, and miss fall and winter. So thinking about taking a leap to a tiny house in the U.S. Interesting. Miss fall and winter. Bless you, honey. But welcome to the community. Would have hope to be able to help you in that tiny house journey. And that Querétaro, that's the word that I've struggled with saying, but welcome. What a beautiful coincidence. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some more confirmation of what I'm saying. Tracy is saying, we understood what you meant, Jewel, as far as the United States system. My sister died of pancreatic cancer in 123, and after further research, I have found meds she could have been given. Yep, absolutely. Sierra Riviera, hello, family. And never comment, but I've learned so much from this family you created. Get on in here and comment. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you. All right, good people. Ask and listen. Keep yourselves in places of joy. Make sure you're taking care of self. Make sure you are watching what you are taking in to your system, literally and figuratively. Happy to have you here, Sacred Streams. Absolutely. I am very sorry that we've all had these challenges and we've lost family members as a result. But the awareness is a big piece of it, and it's also that avocation that I was talking about. It's some beautiful new names I've seen in the chat. Welcome. Happy to have you here. I hope you will join us every Sunday at noon. I've dropped some of the links. I will drop other links in the channel, in the video description. Nicole, good morning. Also a silent viewer, but wanted to say hello. Thank you for saying hello. I appreciate that. You all should be here and be engaged. We are a beautiful community. The Soul Collective community, they are always welcoming in the chat and encouraging. So thank y'all for saying hello today. You don't have to be silent. Thanks for participating in the conversation. Thank you, Tracy. Love you much back. Thank you, Rosalind. I still have some more time here. I am going over to the festival. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll be back in touch on Sunday. Reach out if y'all need me. And thank y'all for your time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for engaging and participating. And thank y'all for the love. I so appreciate y'all. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Have a great week, everybody.